Flosstube. It's Heather, the 20-minute stitcher. Welcome to my little corner of Flosstube. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are new, welcome. I hope you'll like what you see, that you'll click like on this video. Maybe consider subscribing, see what I get up to. I film on roughly a monthly schedule right now. And friends, I am back. So returning viewers will know that the summer was incredibly busy for me. I was traveling, I was getting my daughter ready for her freshman year of college, which left very little time for stitching. I mean, essentially zero stitching. I went over a month without stitching at all. We dropped my daughter off at college mid-August, and I finally picked up needle and thread again on August 23rd. And then didn't stitch for a week because I had an incredibly busy event at work. This is Labor Day weekend. I'm filming this on Monday, September 1st. It's Labor Day weekend here in the United States where I live, and I have spent most of the weekend stitching. Maybe not most, but a lot of the weekend stitching, and it has been wonderful. It's been so nice to get needle and thread out again. And friends, I have 3 finishes. I sort of got out some of those smalls that were really close to being done and just cranked them out. So I have not a whole lot of stitching to share with you, but I have 3 finishes and 1 work in progress to show you. And I am really hopeful. Work is kind of back on more of an even keel. So I'm really hopeful that I will be able to get back to my more regular stitching routine, which admittedly is only about 20 to 30 minutes a day. Typically, that's one of the reasons my channel is called the 20-minute stitcher, because I typically do only have 20 to 30 minutes in a day, most days, to stitch, weekends obviously being a bit of an exception to that rule. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get right into it. So my first finish, and I should say, those of you who watched my slightly later than mid-year WIP parade, thanks for your comments on what you wanted to see me work on, what you wanted to see me finish. Several of you had the same thinking as me, which was when I've been away from stitching for a little while, let's finish a few smalls, get that momentum and energy going. And so that's what I did. So the first small I finished was Cozy Christmas Cat by the Blue Flower. I stitched this on just a scrap piece of what I call kind of rose pink even weave that I've had in my stash for years. I think this might be the last piece of it actually. And I did my own color conversion for this. Well, actually, I shouldn't. It's not a color conversion, a floss conversion. I stayed true to the original colors of the chart, and I just pulled flosses from my stash that matched. So that is Cozy Christmas Cat by the Blue Flower. And I finished that on August 23rd. And then this past weekend was the start of college football. So I was sitting and watching my Ohio State Buckeyes pull out a win, hooray. And so I spent a lot of time stitching on Saturday watching football. And I also finished Collect Moments by Lizzie Kate. And here is that. So this also was just stitched on, I'm calling it denim. It was just a piece of scrap linen or even weave in my stash that desperately needs an iron. But I'm calling it denim, and I used some of the called for colors in the chart, and then I did a conversion of the others to colors that would show up a little bit better on this dark blue. But that is Collect Moments by Lizzie Kate. So another small down. My goal at the start of 2025 was to have 25 finishes in 2025. That's probably lofty now. I think I'm up to 8 finishes now. So I'm on an interim basis adjusting my goal to 12 finishes in 2025, 1 for each month. But we'll see. I have a lot of smalls that are not that far away from being done. So maybe if I just kind of go ham on smalls in September, maybe I can reach my 25 goal. So my next finish was Quirky, Quaker, Lobster by Darling and Whimsy, or not Darling and Whimsy. Yeah, Darling and Whimsy. Oh my goodness, what's wrong with me? So this is Quirky, Quaker, Lobster. This was a freebie gift kit at Stitch North in 2024. Yeah, that's the year I went. And these finally done. So this was a whole kit. So it came with the chart and it came with the Brennan needle flosses. And yeah, I sat down and I had maybe 100, 120 stitches in on this. I sort of had the lobster, like his claws done. I had his body done to about sort of the second set of legs here. So I finished the rest of the body and then everything else all in one sitting. He's so cute. I'm like not a huge lobster fan, but he's super cute. And I love this floss. It's gorgeous. So that'll probably go in the scrapbook since, like I said, I'm not a huge lobster fan, but he was too cute not to stitch. And these flosses, I mean, come on. I can't help but show it. These flosses are gorgeous. Love them. All right. So those are my 3 finishes. And then I pulled out a whip. I was sort of tired at the end of all of that stitching this weekend. And so I pulled out one of my few projects that's on a 14 count Aida. And this is My Favorite Things by 4BoysandanNLGirl. I will put a picture of the finished chart up on the screen. And I don't think I have a picture of where this was when I started, but basically we'll start this way. So basically I had this done before. So it's obviously as you saw from the picture, it's a tiered tray sort of thing with favorite things of autumn. So I had this done when I started stitching it this weekend. And now I should have gotten my board here. So I was about like 30% done on this, or I was sitting at about 30% completion when I started stitching on it this weekend. And I just could not put this down. I put it in my lap stand and just went ham. And I mean, 14 count, it's so quick and easy to stitch on. And yeah, so I don't know, this is not really a small, I don't think, but I still might keep it out and finish it anyway, because I'm really not that far away. I just have these apples to finish, the little sort of light reflection and their stems. And then I just have the bottom tray, which is a black cat and something over here, like a lantern is over here. And that's it. So I'm like at 61% complete on this right now. So, I mean, obviously there's a big bulk of stitching down here, but super cute. This is being stitched on a 14 count printed Aida that I bought at like Joann's or Michael's years and years ago. This is the last piece of it. I don't know, it's not picking up well in the light, but it is kind of like a very pale kind of orangish greenish printed. Yeah, the camera's just not really picking it up. It's very subtle, but it's very pretty in person. I like it. Not sure what I'll do with this when I finish stitching it. Maybe I'll make it into like a leaner or something, because I would want to display it. It's a really cute chart, and it does have a lot of my favorite fall things. So, all right, friends. So not a whole lot of stitching, but some productive stitching for sure. And it's just nice to be back to it. So in terms of plans, I still haven't figured out what big chart I want to work on for the rest of the fall. I do want to finish Magic Kingdom Sal, but it also isn't really calling me right now, so I don't know. The Whip Warriors group in September does do their September Smalls Challenge, which is sort of another reason why I'm thinking maybe I won't give up on my 25 finishes in 2025, because the challenge, there is this big September Smalls Challenge in the Whip Warriors group, which is a closed Facebook group. It will reopen again in a couple of months. So I might focus on my smalls. I was kind of going through, they define smalls as anything sort of smaller than 100 by 100. And I was kind of going through my charts and writing out smalls I wanted to work on. And I stopped at 13 and I was like halfway through my whips. So I clearly have a lot of smalls that I can work on. Some of them are very dense stitching. So like they may not be as quick to finish as I might think they will be, right? The classic stitcher's conundrum of you look at it and you're like, oh, that's not that much. And then you get into it and you say, oh, no, that's actually quite a lot. So we'll see. But I think I'm going to focus on smalls in September and maybe pick one larger project to focus on. I just haven't figured out yet what that's going to be. So yeah, so really my plans are just to keep working on the smalls. I'm feeling very motivated, getting lots of progress on them. And I have at least 2 or 3 more that I know are really not that far away from a finish, that maybe 2 or 3 stitching sessions could get them done. And so that has me motivated to work on those as well. So my plans for September are mostly smalls. I do also have, thank you to Laura of Stitching by the Shore for completely enabling me. I meant to print out a picture of the chart, but I'll put a picture up here. So I was watching her most recent Flosstube, and she was talking about this large sort of 6-piece full coverage chart from Rose Conn that I don't recall who she said was stitching it, but mentioned that there was one piece of this 6-piece chart. You can purchase them individually as well from Paine Free Crafts. That was an autumn one that she thought was really pretty and that she was thinking about stitching, but she didn't know like if anybody else was interested in stitching it. And I'm listening to her, I'm watching her Flosstube, and I think to myself, what is this piece that she's talking about? Because she mentioned that the 6-piece one is almost 1,000,000 stitches. And I said, okay, I have to see what this is. Like, I am not a full coverage stitcher, but I'm curious what this chart is. So I went to Paine Free Crafts, I went to Rose Conn's page, and I found the giant chart. And she's big. So even though I don't remember the name of the person who's stitching it, good luck and Godspeed. It is huge. But then I looked at the autumn one that Laura had mentioned particularly liking. And I really wish I hadn't, because I now own it. And like I said, I will actually put the picture up on the screen of what it looks like. I looked at it and went, oh no. Again, I am not a full coverage stitcher. I have one full coverage piece. Now I have 2. But it's so many of my favorite things in this chart. Autumn, first off, autumn is my favorite season. Tiger lilies, fox, squirrel, dragons. Yeah, I was like, I have to stitch this thing. And so floss is purchased, or, well, the floss I didn't already have in my stash is purchased. Fabric is ordered. I think we're going to be starting on the first day of fall. Laura also had to order fabric. So, and it's kind of an interesting chart. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Maybe probably make a bell pull, assuming I ever finish it. Because it's only, I think, 80 or 90 stitches across, but it's like 800 some odd stitches down. So it is, I think on the 25 count fabric I purchased, it's going to be about, I don't remember now. I want to say it's maybe about 8 inches across, but almost 3 feet long. So I'm crazy. But if anyone wants to sort of go wild with us and join us in stitching this chart, it is the Autumn Portal by Rose Conn. You can purchase it in a PDF format at Paine Free Crafts. And yeah, come join us. It'll be fun. I think we're going to be starting on the first day of fall. We haven't finalized that yet, but I'm sure Laura will post on her Instagram or share in her weekly Flosstube. And I will try to remember sharing on my Instagram as well once we set the date. But because we both have to wait for fabric and kind of get ourselves organized, I thought first day of fall maybe would be a good date, which is either September 21st or September 22nd, somewhere around there. So that is also a plan in September, is starting that chart. And then lastly, acquisitions. I don't have much. I really only have sort of, I guess, technically 3 things, but it was 1 purchase. I did order a few marketplace charts. Those obviously are not in yet. I ordered them from my local needle workshop, so I'll have those to share in my next video. But I did purchase Leanne at Forbidden Fiber Co. She just takes my money all the time. But then she sends me beautiful things in return. She offered recently a How to Train Your Dragon themed project bags and a mystery kit. And if you are a returning viewer, you know that I have a very real problem with dragons. I love them so much. I am obsessed with dragons. I was born in the year of the dragon. So I purchased both of the available project bags. One came with the mystery kit, but then the other was purchased separately. So here is one of them with Toothless. Gorgeous. Love it so much. And then the other project bag that came with the kit has both Toothless and the Light Fury. So pretty. And came with this adorable kit that it took everything in me not to start immediately because it is so stinking cute. It's called Fury Bond. Look how adorable that is. It is so cute. Oh, hey, it's only 67 by 67. Or no, 67 by 71. It's a small. Maybe I'll start it in September as part of September Smalls. Technically, they're supposed to be whips, but you know, I'll put a few stitches in it and then it's a whip. And here are the flosses for it. I mean, they're just, I love Forbidden Fiber Co. flosses. If you've never used them before, I really encourage you to give them a try. She does mostly solids, but just the color, the shine on the floss, the boldness and brightness of the colors, just love them. Love Leanne's flosses. So they came with those flosses. They came with a little toothless, ooh, bad glare. There we go. A little toothless needle minder. And they came with, I got the 28 count Lugana in vanilla cream. Let me just take it out of the bag. Because, yeah, this baby's a small. Guess what's getting to start in September? So here is the fabric. So the lights, there we go. That's a little bit better. So just a very subtle, neutral, definitely more here than I'm going to need for the chart. So that'll be exciting. I can find something else fun to stitch on it. And yeah, so those are my acquisitions. I continue to sort of not purchase much this year just because I'm focusing on my whips. But so yeah, that's my video today, friends. Life update, I sort of gave it at the beginning. There was a lot going on, but not necessarily a lot to talk about. We moved my daughter in for her freshman year at school, and that went really well. It was a little hectic, a little chaotic. In retrospect, I would have moved her in a day earlier than we did. We moved her in on the same day that she's playing in the marching band for her school. So we moved her in the same day that band camp started. And we assumed that band camp wouldn't start until the afternoon because they didn't advise moving in a day early. So we were like, okay, great. Well, we'll move in, you know, the morning, and band camp probably starts at 2 or 3 in the afternoon, which technically it did start at 2, but there was registration beforehand starting at 11. So it was a bit of a harried morning, but her room looks great. She and her roommate are getting along thick as thieves already. So grateful for that. They really, really, when we first met them, I thought this is going to be perfect. They're kind of the same person, but they have, in terms of their personality and kind of the way they approach things and look at the world, but they have different interests. They're in different majors. So I think it's a really great blend. They get along really well, but they're not spending like all of their time together, right? So, and she has very quickly found, you know, made additional friends. Being in the marching band helped a lot because she was there a week early. She got to be familiar with campus, got to know other freshmen as well as other upperclassmen. She got very comfortable being like one of 3 people on her floor in her dorm. It was just her roommate, and her RA for the first like 5 days. And she got very whiny when everyone else moved in. She said, it's very loud and very busy now. And I really liked it when it was just the 3 of us, which was kind of funny. But I barely hear from her. So I take that as a good sign that she has settled in. First week of classes is under her belt now too. So yeah, so we're off on the great college adventure now. And other than that, soccer has started for my son. He's back to school as well. Work is super busy, but probably kind of my busiest week of the year was this past week. And so now things will sort of level out a little bit more. We're always busy, but this huge event last week had like 2 evening events and 13-hour days, and kind of on my feet, kind of being on, leading programs, leading things all week. So it's always nice to go have that week and then go into the long holiday weekend here in the States to be able to relax and decompress. So I think that's all the news that's fit to print from me. So yeah, I will see you again in a few weeks. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, I'm not the most regular poster, but I do try to share my stitching updates there. I am at the 20-minute stitcher over on Instagram as well. So looks like we're going to clock in almost right at 20 minutes here. So that's cool too. Kind of getting back to my 20-minute format here. Thank you as always for watching. Our time is precious and I really value that you choose to spend some of your time with me. I hope you enjoyed my stitching, my finishes, and I will end as I always do. Hug your loved ones, take care of yourself, and happy stitching. See you soon. Bye.